You know, if you dig deep into the NFL's official record books, you'll find something really weird. It says that Los Angeles had its first ever franchise way back in the day, but here's the thing. This team was basically a ghost, a phantom that existed on paper, but whose actual story is one of the absolute strangest in the league's history. So today, let's pull back the curtain on the mystery of the 1926 Los Angeles Buccaneers.
And really, that's the whole puzzle, isn't it? I mean, think about it. How on earth can a professional sports team claim to represent a city where it never, not once, plays a single league game? It sounds completely impossible, right? But that paradox, that's what gets us right to the heart of just how wild, how unpredictable, and kinda chaotic the NFL was back in the 1920s.
And here they are. This is the team we're talking about, the 1926 Los Angeles Buccaneers. But get this, their home base wasn't anywhere near Hollywood. It was Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, they wore the name of a city that was thousands of miles away, and that right there is your first big clue that this is not your ordinary franchise story.
So, okay, an LA team from Chicago? How does something like that even happen? Well, the answer tells you a whole lot about what pro football was like in the very beginning.
Well, it all comes down to a concept that feels totally alien to us today: the traveling team. See, back in the early, rough-and-tumble days of the NFL, some teams literally had no home stadium, no home field advantage, nothing. And that meant every single one of their league games was an away game. For that entire 1926 season, the Buccaneers were the ultimate road warriors.
Okay, but here's where it gets even more interesting. Despite being based in Chicago, this team actually had a legitimate claim to its California name. Why? Because pretty much the entire roster was stacked with star players from California colleges and universities. So yeah, their mailing address might have been in the Midwest, but the heart and soul of this team, it was pure, authentic West Coast.
But this still leaves us with the biggest question of all, right? Why? I mean, why go through all this trouble? Why not just, play in Los Angeles? Well, the answer lies in what I like to call the Coliseum conundrum. Believe me, the original plan was ambitious. It was grand. The founders wanted to plant the NFL flag firmly on the West Coast, and their dream was to play in the famous, absolutely massive Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. This was supposed to be a premier flagship franchise, not a team of homeless wanderers. But that big dream, it slammed into a brick wall for two major reasons. First, the commission that controlled the Coliseum, who were pretty powerful, just flat out refused. Nope, no pro teams allowed. And second, the logistics were an absolute nightmare. We're talking about the 1920s. Cross-country travel meant brutal, grueling train rides that took days. It just wasn't possible for a whole league to do that. So the only option left was to base the team somewhere in the Midwest. So that was it. With no home field to call their own, the Buccaneers set off on their one and only season, basically living out of suitcases and playing every single game on enemy turf.
And you'd think a team with no home field would be a complete disaster, right? Well, you'd be wrong. In their single season, they actually finished with a super respectable record: 6 wins, 3 losses, and 1 tie. That was good enough for 6th place in the entire league. This was a really good football team.
And they weren't just beating up on the league's bottom feeders either. I mean, look at some of these results. They shut out the Brooklyn Lions 20-0. They even went all the way to New York and beat the Giants. They proved without a doubt that they belonged in the NFL, even without a city to truly call their own.
But wait, the story's not quite over. It has one more incredible twist. After an entire season of representing Los Angeles from thousands of miles away, the team finally made an appearance in California. Yep, you heard that right. After the 1926 NFL season was officially in the books, the team traveled out to the West Coast and played a bunch of exhibition games. So, for the very first and the very last time, the Los Angeles Buccaneers actually played football in front of a Los Angeles crowd. It was this brief, almost ghost-like appearance in the city they were supposed to represent all along.
And just when you think this story can't possibly get any stranger, check this out. The Buccaneers' very last game ever was an exhibition in San Francisco. And who did they play? A team called the Los Angeles Wildcats. Now, the Wildcats were from the rival AFL, and you guessed it, just like the Bucs, they were a traveling team that had also never played a league game in LA. So you had this battle of two phantom Los Angeles franchises. It's just a truly bizarre, amazing footnote in football history.
So, after that final, incredibly strange game, the story of the Los Angeles Buccaneers, well, it comes to a very, very quick end.
I mean, their whole existence was so incredibly fleeting. The team was formed in 1926, they played that one season on the road, and by early 1927, right after that little California tour, they were just gone. Forever. A true one-season wonder.
So what is their legacy? Well, it's this really strange contradiction, right? They were a Los Angeles team that never really was. A phantom squad that just lived on the road. And yet, the NFL officially recognizes them as Los Angeles' first ever franchise. Their completely odd story is a permanent, official part of the league's history.
It just makes you realize the polished, multi-billion-dollar sports leagues we watch today were built on a foundation of these bizarre, sometimes chaotic, and totally unforgettable stories just like this one. And it leaves me with one final question for you. What other strange but true stories are just hidden away, waiting to be rediscovered in the archives?